very warm welcome to our players for this men's singles final. The number 1 seed, Rajiv Ouseph. Rajiv Ouseph is the top seed and has won this title 6 years in a row. Next week, he will make his 50th appearance for England at the European Men's and Women's Team Championships. He reached the final by beating Ben Beckman in the semi-finals, but had to save 2 match points, as Ben became only the 3rd player to take a game of him since 2008, the year he first won his men's single title. He's 27 and comes from Middlesex, won the silver medal at the Commonwealth Games 4 years ago. He is ranked number 21 in the world. His opponent is Sam Parsons from Coventry. Sam reached the quarterfinals last year, but says this is his best performance in the tournament to date. No wonder it is. He had to save 3 match points before beating Thomas Stanford 26-24 in the 3rd game of their 2nd round clash, winning on his 4th match point, having saved 2 in a 65-minute marathon. Then he beat 8th seed Sam Phillips in 3 games in the quarters and saved 2 match points before beating 2nd seed Toby Penty in the semi-final on his 2nd match point. He is coached by former England star Steve Butler, who was the 1986 runner-up to Dana Hall in the men's singles final, which finished 18-17 in the 3rd game. Sam has never played Rajiv, but is the current under-19 men's singles champion. Ladies and gentlemen, your men's singles finalists for 2014.
Looking to take his 7th national title on the trot, having won on the previous 6 occasions. Now his route through to the final was going all very well until the semi-final, but his route through was a 21-5, 21-9 win in his opening game, and then in the 2nd round a 21-7, 21-19. In the quarter-finals he overcame Sam Dobson, the number 7 seed, 21-8, 21-16. But it was the semi-final which caused Ouseph all the problems against Ben Beckman, unseeded Ben Beckman. And he came through that match after having 2 match points against him 18-21, 23-21, 21-11. In many ways, that could have been a little bit lucky, I think. But his partner, an opponent, should I say, Sam Parsons, the number 14, number 4 seed, 18-year-old from Coventry. He's come through a much tougher test in the draw. In his opening game, he came through 21-6, 21-15. Then against Tom Stanford in the second round, 21-18, 18-21, 26-24. Then in the quarterfinals against Sam Phillips, 21-14, 11-21, 21-18. And then against Toby Penty, the number 2 seed, he came through 18-21, 21-13, 24-22. It's incredibly tough last 3 matches. Now, I know we talk about Rajiv Ouseph in very high regard, Nathan. Been the England number 1 for many years now. Out there kind of on his own on the world scene, really, since the retirement of Carl Baxter. Much older than all the other players out there in the England team at the moment for singles. And he's still flying the flag. 21 ranking in the world he is. But I know, Nathan, you were very, very impressed with this young man.
I was, yes, in the semi-finals yesterday. Watched both the men's singles matches yesterday, and I have to say Rajiv Ouseph is very fortunate to be in the final today. Ben Beckman had his opportunity to take his place in the final, 2 match points. Well, Rajiv toughed it out to take the tight win, but Sam Parsons, as you were saying yesterday, against number 2 seed Toby Penty, really impressive mentality for a young player, really up for it, and I think he won it mentally in the semi-final, which is so impressive for a junior player. But he's going to have to be really on another level that he's probably never played at today to try and trouble Rajiv Ouseph.
Well, Sam Parsons is in fact the nephew of the former great men's singles player Steve Butler. Steve Butler, former finalist in this event, having lost to Darren Hall in an absolute epic 18-17 in the third. Now, I know Steve Butler well, and I know he doesn't like people to talk much about him, but he has got to be one of the toughest competitors ever. I've never seen a player train harder and literally be loved around the world for the effort level that he puts in.
That's absolutely correct. He was on the teams when I first came into the England squad when I was only 17, and he was known as the toughest, hardest competitor out there, not only really in England, but one of the ones on the world scene, and he was respected incredibly, especially out in Asia, just for his style of play and his never-die attitude. And I'm sure he's been drilling the same thing into young Sam in training, and we saw it in yesterday's semi-final. Interestingly enough, these 2 players have never played against each other, even in training. So, whereas you've seen today players know each other's styles, this will be a completely new test for both players, so it could be interesting.
Well, Sam Dobson thought that one, Sam Parsons even, should I say, thought that one had landed in. I thought that had landed wide. We're straight down the line from here. Now, it is quite a big swipe that he takes on that reverse slice. Slightly unusual in a way.
6-1.
It looks effective as well. That's a great start from Ouseph. This is not the start that Parsons will have wanted. Once Ouseph gets relaxed and confident, that's when he becomes such a dangerous player.
Well, they will have talked about this, Sam Parsons and his coach, about not letting Rajiv Ouseph off for a quick start, because, like you say, once he's relaxed and he gets his momentum, he could be unstoppable in this final, and this is what I worried for Sam Parsons. If Rajiv got out to a quick start, that it might be impossible to stop him getting away, and it'd be very difficult for the young man to win points, because he doesn't have the big weapons that the likes of Rajiv have. He doesn't have the big smash, the angles, and he really tends to grind out the results. I think throughout this championships he's had 2 very tight matches, and Rajiv has the ability to pick off winners quite often.
And that one goes wide. And that is one of Rajiv Ouseph's famous shots, his steep slice cross-court. He's a tall man for a men's singles player. That's a big smash to the backhand side of Parsons. Now, sometimes Ouseph gets sort of told that he's a bit too relaxed at times, a bit methodical, doesn't really get himself up for matches, but so far in this opening game, he looks right on the ball.
Well, it is Rajiv's nature to be quite relaxed and laid back, and he's got to the top in British badminton with his skill and his nature. Like I say, he's not always been an all-action, all-court kind of guy, but he's tried to develop his game. It's very difficult to break into the top 10 in the world so much, but he has had good results lately. He did beat one of the top Chinese, Du Pengyu, out in one of the recent Asian Super Series tournaments, so he does have form. And he has been as high as 10 in the world. So a completely different level of badminton here for Sam Parsons, the junior champion of England, to contend with.
Just another level of pace, isn't it, Nathan? Playing against somebody who has played and been at the top 10 in the world. Maybe not inside the top 10, but there or thereabouts. The pace of the game just goes up so much and the pressure just piles on you.
Well, it certainly is. This is an incredibly great opportunity for Sam Parsons, though. Nationals finally, probably never played in an arena like this. And this is probably the biggest crowd he's played in front of, so a fantastic opportunity. And let's just hope he grabs it with both hands and can really compete with Rajiv.
Well, let's just hope he opens his shoulders and goes for his shots. Shows us what he's made of. They say, very talented boy. Great shoulders on him, great head on his shoulders.
11-4, interval.
But at the moment, it's Ouseph looking very, very confident. Moving very, very quickly. Now, interestingly enough, Rajiv Ousef's coach for the day is, in fact, the guy that he beat here last year and in the previous 5 finals, Carl Baxter. How strange it is in the world of badminton. 1 minute your opponent, but to be fair, the pair of them are best friends, and I think they both found that very difficult competing against each other. Always thought it was a bit harsh when Carl got labelled as the 5 times finalist. You know, that was a record. Thought that was a bit mean considering the level that he played at and the level that Ouseph has played at. Just unfortunate that Rajiv was always in the way.
11-4. Play.
Yes, Rajiv, I think he's looking to keep this consecutive title-winning run going, Anthony, because I believe you're the holder of consecutive national title victories with 9 in a row. Is that correct?
That is correct, Nathan. Yeah, 9 on the bounce. Although it has been written quite a few times this week that wasn't the case. But if Rajiv is going to break the record, he'll have to play for another 3 years after this one. I'm looking at the way he's dominated the sport in the UK. You certainly wouldn't bet against him taking that.
6-11.
A good start to the second half of this first game by Sam Parsons. Cutting in to the advantage of Rajiv Ouseph after the advice of his coach, Steve Butler. I think the first 11 points he would just be expecting to use maybe to settle down. It's a tall ask to see him coming out the block shooting, taking on Rajiv.
12-6 in the opening game. Just 8 minutes been played so far. Well, that's landed right on the line. Although it has been called out now. Change of decision from the linesman.
12.
Rajiv not making any complaints.
Well, and interestingly enough, Sam Parsons is yet to bring himself to train with the national squad, the national senior squad, although I do believe he has been invited recently to join up with the senior squad. So I do think it's a step he probably has to take at some point, is to join them maybe not on a full-time basis as he's still a junior, but certainly to get the opportunity to play more against the likes of Rajiv. You know, he can't get any better practice than that in England, so if he can come and play against the likes of Rajiv and Toby Penty, the other top players, that's got to be an advantage for him.
He's obviously doing some good stuff back at home, though, with his coach, Steve Butler. To have taken out the England #2 seed, Toby Penty, yesterday shows that the training they're doing is very, very good. And maybe he wouldn't want to change that. Of course, I'm sure he'd love to play against Rajiv Ouseph on a regular basis.
14-7.
But would he want to change this kind of winning formula that they have at the moment? That will be seen.
Well, potentially not. And I'm sure that even though he is still a junior, he is out on the senior circuit in Europe, playing in the international challenges, international series events. I'm sure he's trying to build a senior ranking so he can get into those tournaments and compete against some of the best in Europe who play in those events.
Good angle from Ouseph. Oh, Parsons went for a rather outrageous cross-court flick. But he does have to try something special against Ouseph. Rajiv Ouseph tends to have this ability to make people wait when he's playing his shots. It's almost like he has his opponent on the end of a piece of string. And wherever you're going to go, I'm going to hit it somewhere different. That's an amazing angle cross.
17-7.
Well, he is so tall, Rajiv, and he's got such a long reach on. When he really gets up to hit a shuttle, the angles he can create cross-court are impossible to retrieve. You see the top players in the world diving. No dive in the world would have been able to retrieve that, but a tight spinning net shot this time by Sam Parsons has got him into it. And maybe it's the net area, Anthony, where he could actually take on Rajiv, because I don't think he's going to, you know, go winner for winner against him in the attacking department.
Well, he's certainly not going to beat him with the physical nature, is he, just on the build of the two players at the moment. But he does have signs of very, very good tight net play, and that's great to see, because that's something that's been missing in English badminton for a while. Somebody like Darren Hall, an absolute megastar at the net. Unbelievable control and spinning the shuttle tight. I think that era did have that. I think we've lost a bit of that in the last few years, and it's good to see Parsons giving that a go.
Yeah, I think the game has moved a little bit at where it's pushing away from the net more often, but there still is room for incredible net players, the likes of Taufik Hidiat, incredible net spin often, getting the attack for himself.
Well, it's the right idea. Parsons shakes his head, but he's trying all the right things.
18-9.
Very difficult task ahead of him. He knows he has to play the net. Can't afford to give an easy lift to Ouseph, but it is 18-9 after 12 minutes. Ouseph looking very good at the moment. It's too low and too short against the tall man.
Yes, those shots just, they don't work against Rajiv. The punch clears, the fast cross-court ones, because his reach is so good. He can just get up quickly, one step, you know, bringing the shuttle back in the direction it came, wrong footing his opponent. And as he closes in here on the first game,
Game point 9.
not really giving Sam Parsons any encouragement here, with 11 game points, 29 to Ouseph in the first game.
Had a great bit of skill on the kill to finish the opening game. 21-9, Rajiv Ouseph takes the opener.
First game won by Rajiv Ouseph, 21-9.
And a bit of a different story to his match today from the one he had in the semi-final. A much more focused, professional, and that's good to see, but not for his opponent, Nathan. Sam Parsons come out here, 18 years old, only been full-time for a few months really, having finished school. Very difficult task now.
Well, he's got it all to do now. And we'll just take a quick break here for Battle Badminton.
Embrace the challenge. Let Battle Badminton take your social badminton to the next level. Battle allows you to find new players, issue and accept challenges to battle it out on court in singles and doubles. Earn points for each battle that you win or lose. You set the rules and call the shots. Challenge, improve, conquer.
Rajiv Ouseph
20
ready to play.
20
Sam Parsons
seconds.
just taking every opportunity he can to think about the game ahead. And it is a tall order indeed.
Second
21-9 the opening game.
Level.
18-year-old Sam
Play.
Parsons gaining valuable experience out there in his first ever Nationals final. To think he only won the junior national title earlier this year. Now taking on the 6-time national champion at senior level.
Well, in his semi-final yesterday, he was so pumped up all the time in between every point, win or lose, as that one just drifts wide. But in this final, we really haven't seen that. Maybe could it be a case of too much respect for Rajiv Ouseph? Because in yesterday's semi-final, he was really fired up against number 2 seed Toby Penty, really shouting, being aggressive.
I think the key was the start of that game. I think Rajiv Ouseph nullified any chance that Parsons had to really get pumped up. He took a 6-1 lead. I mean, that's another example there. The difference in power between the two players really is apparent. Rajiv Ouseph has improved his strength overhead massively over the years. I remember when I first saw him on the scene and he came to Milton Keynes, very skinny, sort of gangly lad, but with great shots. Now he's got much broader shoulders, stronger legs, much more all-round player.
He is a much stronger all-round athlete these days. Like I said, he always had the skill, the shot potential. Now he's putting that together with a bit of a physical presence. And he probably knew without that he couldn't compete against the top players in the world, the top Asians, the top Danish players. Oh, that's a fantastic, that is what he had and what he's always had. The skill to change the shuttle's direction, round the head, just rolling the wrist into the open court. Fantastic shot.
Few players on the world tour can do that shot, Nathan. Unbelievable. You've got to take into consideration a lot of the Asian players on tour aren't as tall as Rajiv Ouseph, and therefore they have to jump much higher than he does. And they just don't have that ability to flex the wrist as well and bring it down that steep.
No, he does have such a relaxed style overhead, and especially on that reverse slice, like you say, when he rolls it over the shuttle, so difficult, and when he takes it so high, it's coming down almost, that one came down almost before the single service line, so incredibly steep.
And that goes wide. Now, just to put that into context, Nathan, somebody like Parsons, who's a much smaller player, would probably have to jump about 4 foot off the ground to bring the shuttle down with that kind of steepness.
He would, yes. Well, I think Sam Parsons looking ahead for his future with his stature and build, and what I saw of him yesterday in the semi-final, he looks like a real dogged, determined fighter of a player. Someone who's probably not going to reel off 5, 6, 7 winning smashes in a row. And, you know, we've seen players like that on the World Tour, and, you know, they can achieve great things. So you don't have to be a tall player to be a champion. They come in all shapes and sizes.
6-1.
Absolutely, and that's what makes sport great. But it's not looking good for Parsons. Ouseph has come out absolutely flying at the start of the second game. That's a great kill.
Yes, and the crowd's trying to get behind the junior champion here, trying to inspire him to get back into this game against Ouseph. Crowd always rooting for the underdog, especially if they're struggling a little bit in a match like Sam Parsons is right now.
And that one lands in.
Service over.
Great placement from Ouseph.
7-2.
But it is valuable experience for the youngster, playing in his first sort of major championships in a final, playing in a big arena with a bit of a drift, playing against one of the best players out there in the world. It doesn't get much better than this, and this is the start of his career, and he's got a great future to come.
Service over.
Exactly right.
3-7.
I mean, even if this final continues the way it does, and Rajiv Ouseph takes this title comfortably, I only see this as a positive for the young man. He's got the future ahead of him, and he'll get so much confidence from this now, moving into the senior ranks. But Ouseph has full control of the court at the moment, just pushing the shuttle around, biding his time, waiting for that opportunity, and Parsons has no answer to the Ouseph attack so far in this match.
And that's quick coming forwards as well from Ouseph.
9-3.
That's where the top players in the world are so good. They get up for the smash and follow it in so quickly, give you no time to rest. It's 9-3, 20 minutes been played.
Service over.
And that one's just gone
4-9.
short. Rajiv Ouseph, who won the silver medal in the Commonwealth Games 2010, will be looking obviously to at least repeat that in Glasgow, Anthony, but we do know he's up against probably the phenomenal Lee Chong Wei of Malaysia. Is there anything that Rajiv can do in his game until then to try and improve to a level where we could even give Lee Chong Wei a few problems and maybe turn a silver into a gold?
Well, I mean, that is one of the biggest asks ever in sport, isn't it? Lee Chong Wei, the world #1, winner of nearly every Super Series tournament that he plays. Doesn't actually have a major to his name, Lee Chong Wei, but has won the last few Commonwealth Games golds. It is going to be tough, but he's just got to go for it, hasn't he, at the end of the day? But Commonwealth Games now in men's singles is so strong.
Service
He's
over.
going to be up against it
10-5.
from probably second round onwards with the quality of play in that draw. So going to be tough, but he's certainly playing well, and that's what we're looking for.
Oh, and he's in to finish that one, injected the pace into the
11-5.
rally there. He does have that change of
Interval.
pace, and he takes an 11-5 lead in the second game interval here.
It's a very difficult situation here for Parsons. There isn't an area of the game that he's actually better than Rajiv Ouseph at. Just watching that particular rally, Ouseph went into more of a double style, very, very hard, strong drives. And Parsons doesn't have that wrist power yet. You know, he's 18 years old. He's not going to have that wrist power, and that is something that obviously he will, with his coach Steve Butler, improve on.
20
And that
seconds.
just shows what is possible
20
in the
seconds.
game of badminton. And the levels just keep going up and up and up. Rajiv Ouseph ranked 21 in the world. To get to #1 in the world, which is where the Lee Chong Weis of this world are, is just keep building and building and grinding out those training sessions.
Yes, absolutely. You can see Sam Parsons there trying to encourage himself, really trying to pump himself up in the break there with his coach. As we said, this game is about what Rajiv Ouseph brings, and if he brings his A game and maybe even his B game, it'll be too much. So if he maintains his level, it'll be so difficult for the young man, and he hits a fantastic angle on the drop shot that time.
5.
Well, Parsons has never had to play against angles like that before in his short career. And that one lands so accurately on the line.
13-5.
Now, let's see what he can do. Come on, Sam. He's shaking his head with disgust in his own defence, but
14-5.
the accuracy and power of the smash, just too much.
And probably a disadvantage that they've never played together is Rajiv does have quite a deceptive attack, cross-court and straight, and I do think Sam Parsons is really struggling to guess which side he's going and is just having to react after the shuttle's been hit. And by the time he's reacted, the shuttle's either on the floor or just going past him. So incredibly difficult for him.
Well, that's the big difference, isn't it, Nathan, between junior and senior badminton. Takes a few years to get used to the pace, the angles, the power, and often the tactics. That's what senior players do so well. They don't do things dead obviously. They make you think about every single shot. And this is a masterclass in how to do that. 15-6, Ouseph leads. Just requires 6 for his 7th title on the trot.
And he certainly showed more focus here in the final. I really think that his focus was slightly off in yesterday's semi-final, where he saved 2 match points, remember, against Ben Beckman.
Well, I think that one had gone wide.
Well, incredibly, it's been called out. Was it called out?
No, it was called in, but we are sat down that line. I did think it landed in.
We will
have a look on the replay.
Here.
Oh, it's close. Oh, that's brilliant net play. That's what we needed to see more of.
8-15.
Definitely can build his game around that great sort of net play, Nathan, in the future. Like you say, Taufik Hidiats, the Peter Gades of this world. That's how they built their games, around great net play.
Well, it's still the area of the court where you get the attack from. You can't build attack apart from working it around the push and net area of the game.
16-8.
But like you say, he's just a tiny bit off the pace. Rajiv Ousef's got all the answers at the moment. And he's closing in on a 7th successive title.
Just 4 points required for Ouseph.
And a few easy mistakes now creeping into Sam Parsons' game, as I think the head and the shoulders have finally dropped, as he knows at this year, even been a fantastic tournament for the young man, that probably a runner-up spot is where he's destined to be. Full-length dive, trying to retrieve another one of Ousef's around the head cross-court. Dropped, but not enough. Full commitment there, but still the shot was too accurate. And Ouseph seems determined to not let Parsons to double figures in this final, and he's brought up championship point. And he's got the chance with the smash. He goes for the cross-court drop. And it's been called out, the final smash by Sam Parsons. An incredible last rally. But defending champion and strong favourite for the title, Rajiv Ouseph defends his national championship from last year and takes 7 in a row. 7 in a row for Rajiv Ouseph, with the men's singles victory over national junior champion Sam Parsons, 21-9, 21-8.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anthony Clark onto court for the interviews with our finalists. The presentations will follow shortly.
Congratulations, Rajiv. Phenomenal performance today. Bit different to yesterday.
Yeah, a little bit different. Ben played really well yesterday. And I started really slowly, and he kind of took advantage of that. Yeah, it's probably the most relaxed I've seen him play, and he's playing really well.
Yeah, it said on the internet that it's probably the best he's ever played, but obviously a different match today. You seemed a lot more relaxed, less tension in the legs, and just played the perfect game, really.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Sam could be dangerous after playing so well against Toby, but I thought the week might have caught up with him after having quite a few 3-set matches. He's had a really good week, so credit to him. But yeah, I thought probably my experience in a big arena kind of showed through there.
Well, it definitely did, and that takes you to 7 titles. I know you're going to try and go for my record of 9. That means 3 more years, so come on, Sam, you need to get better a bit quicker. But is that something you're going for? Obviously, Commonwealth Games, the big one for you this year, I think.
Yeah, so I didn't realise you won 9 single titles in a row. When was that?
Oh, yeah. Did you not heard that? Oh, right, OK. Hey! Yeah, we'll get that changed. Anyway, back to the Commonwealths. Obviously, Lee Chung-wei stood in your way last time. Do you think you can go one better this time?
I was kind of hoping he was going to retire, to be honest, but he's still playing, so yeah, it's going to be very tough. The Indians have got quite a few good players, so yeah, the field's quite tough, but I mean, I'm going to give him my best shot.
Absolutely. All England as well coming up. I know that's a big favourite of yours. You played well there in the past. Looking for quarters, semis?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an objective of mine, to try and do well in these tournaments in front of the home fans, so you don't really get to play here too often. So yeah, I mean, if I could string sort of 2 or 3 good results together, that'd probably be my aim. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done, Rajiv. Many congratulations. 7 titles on the trot. Well done, young man. Well done, Sam. A fantastic week. I kind of think got a lesson from the master a little bit there, but you know, it has been a tremendous week for you. Junior national champion, your first ever final. Okay, your uncle in your corner. Everything's going really well, matey. Great performance and definitely something to build for the future.
Yeah, I've had a really good week. I didn't expect to be here today, so I'm happy about that. But without my uncle, I couldn't have really done it, because he's been through me thick and thin, and my brother as well. So not had the best of weeks before this, but come out and got to do what I've got to do. So
absolutely. Good to have a good team in place. Are you going to make the move to Milton Keynes and come and join the national squad, or stay where you are for the meantime? Obviously, things are going really well for you. You're 18 years old, really professional attitude. That's what I've heard about all weekend. So you just got to keep that going. Do you need to kind of have the mix of both, do you think?
At the moment, I think I'm doing pretty well where I am at the moment. So I think I've got a lot more to learn off Steve, because he was so good. And I think at the moment, I'm going to try and progress with Steve where I am at the moment.
Can you beat Steve yet?
Maybe it's mainly drawing. So, but
drawing, Steve. Why haven't you played here? But many congratulations. What's next for you on the calendar? Obviously, these guys are off to international tournaments, Super Series, and that kind of thing. What about for yourself?
Next week, I've got under-19 nationals again to defend my title, so I'll go there, try and defend that, and then progress on. I've been playing seniors tournaments this year, so I'll progress in the rankings, world rankings, try and get as far as I can in there. So.
Brilliant. So still a junior. I mean, that's an unbelievable achievement to be in your first national final as a junior. Many congratulations and best luck for the future. Well done, young man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our VIP presentation party onto court for the men's singles event. The presentation party consists
well, you heard young Sam Parsons there talking about a big future ahead for him, hopefully. Giving a lot of credit to his coach, Steve Butler, teaching him everything that he knew and he gained as a world-class player back in the 90s. But today was all about Rajiv Ouseph taking the title, 21-9, 21-8 for 7 titles in a row for Rajiv Ouseph. Well, this will be a very special medal for Sam Parsons. National Senior runner-up medal for Sam Parsons. As he said, he'll be defending his national junior title next week. So a little bit of a come down for Sam Parsons, having played in the senior nationals in front of a large crowd here at Milton Keynes Arena. And playing against Rajiv Ouseph, he will be back to the junior circuit. But today belongs to Rajiv Ouseph. Gunning for Anthony Clark's 9 titles in a row.
Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge
he sees his name again go on the men's singles championship trophy. As the two stand together, we see the current star of English singles badminton, and we've seen here this week that maybe we've seen the future of English singles in young Sam Parsons, a name to watch for the future. We'll take a short break, but we'll be back with the final of the mixed doubles. It's the Adcocks, Chris and Gabrielle Adcock, the number 5 in the world, against last year's champions, Chris Langridge and Heather Olver. Join us shortly.